Meteor strike.
Well, then I changed my prediction for next week.
Welcome to amorephillyunion, the podcast where we swear to talk about the Philly Union, the whole Philly Union, and nothing but the Philly Union with as few digressions as possible. We are your hosts. I'm E.
I'm C.
And I'm Paul.
Let's jump into a little bit of housekeeping here. The Help You challenge check. We had a pretty good week. We went from 451 downloads to 480 downloads. And actually, that's pretty good considering how late we got the last pod posted. But now that I think about it, never mind, because this 451 was as of when we recorded last week, which was on time. Or maybe just one day late, but still. Anyway, so we got basically 29 more downloads since last week. So it was a good week.
Now, are most of those downloads the last episode, or were there any previous episodes downloaded in that?
We do got some previous episodes downloaded. Let me check here real quick. Today, for example, we had 2 from the recent episode and 2 from last week's episode.
Okay. I mean, I know we are kind of a timelier podcast, so it's not like people are necessarily going to, find us and want to track back and, listen to the very, like the 3rd or 4th episode for some reason.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see, if hopefully those are people that, downloaded the latest episode, liked it, and then wanted to go and listen to another episode or 2 beforehand.
Yeah, we had a couple other downloads that were earlier episodes as well.
Good.
I suspect maybe somebody is going through our catalog of episodes, which is cool.
Certainly welcome.
Yeah. What else? Oh, we do have one new, I don't know if it's a new listener, but we got another map, or we got another state on the map. So we got Oregon.
Hey.
Yeah,
Welcome.
we are getting there. Thank you, Oregon, for tuning in. Yeah, so hopefully, if the trend continues, hopefully next week episode will be, celebrating the halfway point to our 1,000 download goal.
Oh, that's right. That's crazy. And what episode are we on now? What episode number
this is episode, we're on episode 20 right now.
Wow. Could you imagine that? 20 episodes getting to 500 downloads? I would take it.
That's actually pretty good. We're averaging about 25 a week.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Yeah. Thanks very much. This is wow, it's hard to imagine we're here at 20 episodes. Yeah, in the sense of when we first started doing this, it's like, all right, let's just get started and we'll see what happens, build the plane as we go, as they say.
And it is very much just us getting a chance once a week at least to talk about the Union stuff, whether it's the previous games or other happenings in Union world. So it's nice. And hey, if people are listening, that's cool too. Now, we're certainly welcoming any interaction that you might want to throw out to us. If there's stuff that you like to hear or stuff that you would wish we would do, we're willing to listen. Not saying that we would do it, but certainly listen.
I mean, while we're here, if you want to throw us a line, we'll bring this up at the end of the podcast. But just in case people don't get that far, if you want to throw us an email, you can email us at pod@amorephillyunion, all one word, .com.
But you really should be listening to the end to see what stinger Eric decides to throw in at the end of the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
It's our nod to the Marvel cinematic universe approach to, hey, keep people in the seats for the credits.
Yeah, it's our little Nick Fury moment.
And I have to say, you do tend to pick some pretty humorous ones, especially those are ones that aren't necessarily on the main feed, on the main part of the podcast. So some of the pre-podcast recording that we do.
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, we are at episode 20, so maybe it's worth taking a moment just to kind of take a little pause and reflect on where we've come so far. But we are kind of really got our formula down now, right? We have our little hook at the beginning, which is some sort of out of context goof that we like to put at the beginning, and then stinger at the end is now I take it from an outtake or something that didn't get into the actual podcast, so I put it at the end. And there are a lot of good ones to select from at times, and I keep a running list. I note the times of certain comments or sayings or whatnot, phrases, and by the end, which is one of the reasons why I'm up so late, because it's like, all right, I've narrowed it down to 5. Okay, I mean, and there is a certain aesthetic to it, right? You play the ending song, and as it's fading out, and then the stinger kicks on. It's like, it's not a good transition. Okay, so that one's out. All right, let's try the next one, right? And you gotta kind of,
Yeah, and then it's just a question of which one of C's statement do we put in there.
It's like when they say,
clever by half. That's the problem. She's smarter than both of us.
Soccer is the game that lasts for 90 minutes. At the end, the Germans are the winners. It's like, this podcast is it lasts for about an hour, and at the end, Christy always gets the either the hook or the stinger, or sometimes both.
Man, well, I'm okay with it as long as it makes it entertaining. So
but it's fun. I mean, we got a nice little formula going. I'm sure it's fun watching it evolve over time. So we're interested to see where we are by the end of the season, and what it looks like even next season. I don't know. But yeah, so it's fun.
So talking about the season, do we want to talk about much about this game?
Yeah, let's get through this game as fast as we can.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea.
So the Union traveled down to Atlanta.
Muggy day.
Yeah, it was a Sunday game, right? 4 p.m. It's a 4 p.m. game.
Yeah.
So maybe that was part of the problem. Yeah.
And to be clear, the Union haven't had a whole lot of luck down in Atlanta. I think the one win down there was a U.S. Open Cup game a couple of years back, because they did. Atlanta's tough at home.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think anybody's had a whole lot of luck this season. I believe they've been, pretty much defending the home turf.
It was the battle of the statistics, right? They don't have a very good record, but their home records.
Yeah, they only had one loss at home going into this week.
So that butter piece of toast on the back of the cat, it definitely landed butter side down, at least for the Union. And it was did not go that great. Okay, do you want to talk about the lineups first?
Yeah, we need to talk about the lineups for this game. The Union, I didn't realize Wagner got hurt in the Miami game. News. And so, he wasn't going to be starting. And they rolled out the 4-4-2 diamond with, Mbaizo out right on defense and Harriel out left on defense, which I kind of found a little surprising. I would have thought they might have picked Real to be out there, or maybe go with a 3-5-2 and put Real and Mbaizo in those wingback roles. But I was really kind of just surprised to see Harriel out there. Like I said, I didn't know that Wagner had been injured. I don't know. Were either of you aware of that?
No, I was not aware of Wagner. I was surprised that he wasn't starting. Let's just boil this down to simple terms. This is why we lost the game, because Wagner was out.
We need those sexy calves.
Yeah, we need the sexy calves.
We didn't have the garter socks.
Yeah, which always reminds me of the ending scene of Shop Around the Corner. But anyway,
well, that's a
random. So in terms of the lineup, though, the way they had it displayed on TV, they were going 3 in the back for the Union.
Okay,
which I guess can work as long as those 3 can keep the other team from attacking, and they did not seem to do that. It really felt like the Union were, they could not get out ahead of this game. It just felt like the Atlanta was dictating the pace and the character of the game. And I'm jumping too far ahead, but that 3-man back did not seem to work very well in this game.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the Union haven't gotten off to good starts in a good number of their games this year, and have given up first goals. They've been, shaky at the start. They need to start at, minute one, like they're playing at minute 30. If they could do that more often, they're going to end up with more clean sheets. Unfortunately, this one, Atlanta did not take long to punish the Union.
Mm-mm.
Well, even in the third minute, there was Harriel took out what's his name? Galifianakis. What's his name?
Yakimakis.
There you go.
I will be getting that wrong all episode. But and it was the ref, also Ted Uncle, by the way, the ref called it a PK. But upon VAR and us at home watching all the different camera angles, it was a pretty soft foul at best. If it was,
yeah, I agree. I mean, in watching it, I mean, it looked like he was playing for the foul. He as soon as he got any contact, he seemed to go down. And I get it. There's a mentality, there's a mindset, there's an approach to the game that's how forwards should play. But yeah. I'm of the Brian McBride school of it.
There
you stay up. If you're bleeding, you keep going until the referee makes you go to the sideline and get a band wrapped up like a American Revolution war soldier.
They give you a drum and a fife to take out into the field.
Well, I remember that. I think it was a game against, it was
against Italy.
Yeah, where he literally broke the orbital socket in his face, and he was still on the field playing. Now, that's probably a little extreme.
Yeah.
But in this case, Yakimakis, I mean, it's any touch, and he went down. To be fair, I think Ariel did kind of get him more in the back than shoulder to shoulder, but it was really, really light.
Yeah. Yeah, and once again, then our 12th man VAR came to our rescue, and the ref called it back. But I think Harriel still got a yellow.
Yeah, he did. I mean, I just feel like they're just kind of rewarding that sort of behavior, and if that's how they want the game to be played, then they should call it that way throughout the league. And I don't know, it's not how I would prefer it to be played.
Yeah,
personal preference, though.
Yeah,
that's all that is. But yeah, I mean, it happened in the third minute. Is that when that foul took place?
Third minute, I think, is when the foul occurred, and
I don't think they actually ended up getting the free kick off until like the 6th or 7th minute.
Yep.
But the wall did its job. Actually, the wall didn't quite do its job. It went off Martinez, who was kind of backing up the wall.
Yeah.
And he made the first initial stop on Almeida's free kick. And then Almeida, I don't know how he got that ball through that scrum. There's definitely some Union players charging at him.
Yep.
And yeah, he just blisters that ball to the side. And I mean, Bendik couldn't have seen it.
Yeah. That goal was beautiful. It was unbelievable. And all Bendik could do was just stand there and watch it.
It was Martinez-esque. Not quite as good, but close. But yeah, that was disappointing to go down 1-0. But I mean, how did you guys feel after that? Like, I still felt the Union were in the game. Like, I mean, granted, it had only been on for 7 minutes, but
I was thinking it was maybe a case of scoring too early. I was hoping that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll admit, though, that I did not know much about Almada at that point. I only did a little research during and after the game, so I didn't realize that he was such a good player. I mean, that was a set piece, but even so, he stayed pretty powerful in the field. So I still felt okay. I really thought maybe they just got, I don't want to say lucky, that's not what I mean, but lucky a little bit, and maybe we did come back and punish that. I
mean, I would agree.
Finally get a 2-1 when I could predict it.
Well, I mean, the Union have proven that the 2-0 lead is not safe against them so many times. So going down 1-0 is not a huge deal for the Union.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically a tie. Yeah, and the Union, they, it's not uncommon for us to let the other team score first, and then I feel like we can figure out the game, and then we can shift the momentum, and then we start running the show, and then we come back to draw or take the lead. But I didn't feel like that happened in this game. I mean,
no.
At 7 minutes when Atlanta scores a goal, it's like, all right, well, again, the sooner we get behind, the sooner we get caught up. But Atlanta, I don't want to give them too much credit, but I felt like they got under our skin, and we could not just get out in front of this game. I just felt like they were reading our plays. We just couldn't get that rhythm going.
This felt more like a game from earlier this season when we were playing 9 other cup leagues. I know that I'm exaggerating, but one of those. But it also their defense was just shutting us down. I mean, pure and simple. It was. I really just feel like either they had our number or they're just very strong. I'm not sure. Which way to say that, but.
All right, so down a goal 7 minutes in, not the end of the world.
Nope.
Play was okay. I don't know. It just felt like they weren't really connecting real well up top.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we couldn't get that rhythm going.
Yeah, and the next big thing I wanted to mention was the injury. The non-contact injury in the 30th minute. I don't know if you have anything between the goal and that injury that you wanted to bring up.
That was with Giakoumakis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. What happened with the injury? He
just pulled up. Okay. I mean, I don't. No one was near him, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, he kind of just went down, and that's never a good sign. When a player just kind of pulls up and lays on the ground for no contact situations is it's a tough situation. That's he's a all-star. He got called into the all-star game.
Okay.
Oh, no.
And to see him leave like that was a big loss for Atlanta. And I don't think they've actually announced anything other than it was a hamstring injury.
Right.
So at least it's not a knee injury, which is actually relatively common on turf fields like they play on in Atlanta. Right. It's pretty abusive on the knee. The ligaments in the knee. So maybe it's just overuse. I don't know how many games he's been playing, but definitely seemed like, all right, the Union are down 1-0. Giakoumakis pulls up. They have to make a sub, put on a non-first choice striker. You kind of feel like, all right, that's good news for the Union. It's a little not necessarily how you want it, but hey, you got to take advantage of it where you can.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just felt like the whole game the Union just couldn't make good contact.
Yeah,
in that final third.
Yeah.
Make those passes, or they were trying to be too cute with passes at times as well.
Yeah.
So Giakoumakis apparently hurt his hamstring back in April.
Ooh.
And was out for a while. So this
re-aggravation,
is re-aggravation, and he is day-to-day right now, which is a real shame for him, especially with the All-Star.
Yeah, with the All-Star game
coming up. So again, it just I hate to see players just pull up like that because they know it's real. They're not faking anything. Or I shouldn't say faking. I should say trying to draw a foul or a card or something like that. So anyway, I just
no, good information.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so that with no disrespect to him, and obviously you don't want anybody having a serious injury, but there was a moment of two, quite frankly, where it was like, well, maybe this, I hate to say it's good for us. That sounds heartless, but there it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because well, if maybe this will throw them off.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Certainly never wished it on him, but if it's happening, then but it really didn't.
Yeah, it's not like they're the Red Bulls or DC, some team that we really hate and we want to see their players get injured. This is Atlanta, which, a good team with some history against the Union. They knocked us out of the playoffs a while back, but
that's right.
it's not it's not Chicago where the Union players just don't seem to like the Chicago Fire players. But yeah, I agree. It was unfortunate to see him pull up like that. Not necessarily how you want to have to feel, go again up against another team.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Just watching the game, like it was early. We figured there was plenty of time. If the Union could have started generating some consistent pressure, but it just didn't really go that way.
Yeah. I guess, the first half ends 1-0 Atlanta. Okay, we've been there before. This is nothing to worry about. But I think kind of there were a couple things in this game that were like signs of things not going according to plan. I remember when Ronaldinho, right, when he played for Barcelona and stuff like that, and it was just a delight to watch, right? He was out there dancing on the ball, and then, he did he go to Milan, whatever. Afterwards, he kind of moved on, and he kind of struggled. And I still remember a friend of mine saying how, like, when you watch him play, he doesn't smile anymore. Yeah. And then he eventually, I think he ended his career back in Brazil, and maybe because I don't know if the pressure's a little less there, maybe it's the being back home or whatever. You start playing with that smile again, right? And so maybe it's not as fast, but I mean, he was still just
that footwork is absurd.
Exactly. So it was kind of similar. I just felt like maybe not to that extreme, but it's kind of similar because Carranza gets a yellow card, but it's not unheard of that Carranza is going to get a yellow card. But I just still remember, like, we talked about in the past, like when Carranza plays, he has this kind of confidence that there's goals in this game for him. He just has to go get them.
Mm-hmm.
I just start feeling like he wasn't playing with a smile anymore, and the proverbial smile. And so when he gets this yellow card, it's like, oh man, like I use the analogy, right, that Atlanta was under our skin. Like we just couldn't get our game going. And then when he gets that yellow card, I'm like, guys, come on. Like, I don't know what the solution is, but like we got to get our game,
Yeah, and looking at one of the recaps I was just looking through now, they actually did call it a 3-5-2 with Flock out left. And I think about the 30th minute or so, they adjusted back to the diamond, because that's really what I remember from this game is them playing the diamond, the 4-4-2 diamond. Mm-hmm. That seemed to settle them in a little bit better. Seemed to match the players on the field, and they were making good. They were not good, but they were making some connections on the passing. They were getting some build up. There were some runs and passes into the wide areas and some crosses and cutbacks, but just seemed like they couldn't get a shot on frame.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that, I think, when we get through the game. But the stats, it all reflects in the stats, and it was a very non-Union stat game.
Moving into the second half, then the Union seemed to have locked their defense down a bit better.
Mm-hmm.
In the first half, kept that going through most of the second half. But they kept pushing to try to find something, and I don't know. Like you said, the joy wasn't there. There was, soccer is in some ways different than other sports in that there is an art to the game. Mm-hmm. And it requires all 11 players on a team to be working together to really generate that motion. Like we haven't done it in a little while, but there's a part in this last season of Ted Lasso where they're playing, I forget who they're playing, but it's where they finally put Jamie Tart in as the orchestra, the conductor of the attack. Uh-huh. And the ball's in Richmond's defensive half. He actually comes through the box. Van Dam gets the ball, and as he lays it out to the defender, it jumps to Ted, and he goes, "Here it is, here it is." And with that, his team then plays like 12 passes, gets it up the field, and scores a goal.
Yeah,
and there was none of that feeling on the game, or at least not that I remember, where you were like, all right, these two players know where they're going, or these four players are really connecting and making runs off of each other. They were making runs. They were trying, but it just, I don't know.
It felt like Atlanta was there. It's like they were intercepting our little communications, and they were just no matter where we try to go with the ball, Atlanta was there waiting for us,
Well, that or they would let us build it up into a space that Atlanta knew wasn't dangerous. Like, all right, you're going to build it up the field. Fine. I'm going to let you play it out wide.
Yeah.
All right. You're never going to threaten me in the middle.
Yeah.
All right. You're going to make a cutback. Fine. But my defender is going to be in front of the guy, the last guy on the ball.
Yeah. Like I said, we could not get out. Our strategy couldn't get out in front of their strategy.
No, I will say it was nice to see Bedoya get a shot off, even if it ended up curling wide.
That was...
He was so mad.
It was, pounding the turf, and oh man, that shot was so nice and so close.
And that touch that he took to beat that defender and get into the box, was so pretty.
Yeah, it was kind of like it's good to see, see our captain still, juking out a defender. It's not.
Turned to the young guy, said, "Here, hold my beer," and. Yeah, so that was really exciting. I just wish he could have put that far corner like he was trying.
Kind of like let Bedoya showing the rest of the team how to get it done. That was a nice little shining moment. But it was shown brighter if it went in the net. But it was nice to see Bedoya having some good individual performance out in the field in this game.
Yeah, and it did show. The team is different with him on the field. So having him back from injury does make an improvement on how the team plays. And you could definitely see that they did feed off of his energy a bit. And they just couldn't make that final they couldn't make those final connections to get the shots on frame. And it was very frustrating, especially as the game kept going on later and later. We're in this 65th, 70th minute, 75th minute. You're like, come on, guys, we need a goal.
Well, I guess in that time frame, because then the Union sub out both Bedoya and Ura, and they bring in McGlynn and Sullivan, which it's a little apples and oranges, but it did feel like pulling out some fairly senior players for two younger players. I mean, McGlynn is, he's a rising star, and I do like seeing him get out in the field. And Ura, I know, and that was the other thing. Ura got a yellow card in this game too.
You did.
Which again, this was like we're playing angry, and that's not good. But I don't know if it was a good sub or not. I'm not saying was a bad sub, but I throw it out to the floor.
I don't know that I really saw a ton from McGlynn and Sullivan in those last 20 minutes or so of gameplay. You certainly know that both of them can play. And it wasn't in this game. It was one of the earlier games that Sullivan really just was playing with a lot of fire. Maybe I assume that's why Curtin put him out there, because there was a game, I can't remember if it was the Orlando game or the probably wasn't the Miami game, where he just was playing and you could tell he wanted a goal. He wanted this team to win. And I assume that's why Curtin put him out there. Was it's an easy sub. He's playing as a forward, doesn't have the defensive role that other players might need to fill. And it wasn't the spark that the team, it didn't generate a spark for the team to get a goal from.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Atlanta's second goal. That was I almost want to say it was a defensive breakdown, but in all honesty, it was just really well passed. I mean, it was a real nice buildup of a play and then a real nice finish.
The irony was thick on that too, because it was immediately after the commentators said that Atlanta conceded 13 goals after the 75th minute this season. So, maybe the Union has I don't even know if they finished the season. So it was just, I was still typing it into my notes and they scored and I'm like, great. Yeah, pretty much. So.
Yeah, and I remember watching it as it happened. I'm like, was he offside? It looked like he might have been offside. And they showed the replay and he's clearly not offside. He's well onside. I'm like, darn it.
Yeah, I feel like the soccer gods are dialing up the drama in Act 2 here.
The MLS writers.
The MLS writers. Well, they're on strike. So.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
So, but
Yeah.
that goal, it just that was.
Do you think Blake would have saved it?
Right. I mean, this is the question.
This is no insult to Bendik. Let me be very clear. Bendik is a very serviceable keeper, but part of me thinks Blake would have stopped that second goal. I don't think anybody would have stopped the first goal. That was just too well taken.
No.
No.
I think that's got a time machine. It can go back in time and like give Almada like a tennis racket so he doesn't do soccer.
Right.
But other than that,
no.
No, I mean, I think that Bendik made contact with this ball. I just felt like Blake had been there, it probably would have been saved, or at least initially deflected. If a follow up may have happened. But and again, no slight on Joe Bendik. That's just tough to watch. That ball goes in because I think it kind of went in between his legs.
Yeah.
Oh, my complaint about Bendik, although if it did go between his legs, that'd be kind of retribution, because I do believe Aronson nutmegged Guzan at least once, if not twice.
Yes, he did.
So that'd be kind of funny. But my complaint about Bendik, keeping in mind I have never played as keeper. However, he tends not to. You see Guzan, he grabs that ball, and Blake falls on it, holds it. Bendik swats it away, does something to get it out. But I don't know if it's just what's happening on the field. If it's, he doesn't make me comfortable. Like even when he's stopped something, it's not stopped. Play is still continuing, or something is happening. But it's not, he doesn't just stop the play like Blake tends to, or Guzan in this game. And I was very uncomfortable watching him, because it was like, well, yeah, okay, we're okay for about 2 seconds, but so that's my complaint about that situation. As to whether he could have stopped that goal, I really don't know. But
yeah, I don't know if he could have, would have, should have, whatever. But getting to your point, Christy, it was kind of like we talked about this last week, and that was, I was hoping this would be the game where Bendik kind of,
his breakout game.
What's that?
A breakout game to kind of really,
right?
Cement himself as the temporary starter.
Exactly, kind of gets that rhythm going like the old days, right? And he's the little. To
be fair to Bendik too, I mean, the Union, this Gold Cup break for Blake, where he's away with Jamaica, it's a long road trip for the Union. They have this game against Atlanta, then this coming weekend they're going out to LAFC, and I forget they got one other away game before they finally play a home game against New York City FC. So he's kind of got a tough row to hoe.
Yeah.
And so while the Union ended up losing this game 2-0, I did note that they won the yellow card competition 4-2.
That's a Pyrrhic victory, but yeah. It's like the Bad News Bear victory. Like, you guys could take your trophy. And
I was actually looking that up, and Ted Uncle is, shall we say, generous with the yellow cards in general.
Yeah.
He his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 math 10 MLS games, he has given 28 yellow cards.
That's only 2.8 per game.
Wow, that seems pretty prolific in the yellow cards.
I mean,
you said the last 10 games.
Hold on.
The last 10 games and 2 Valentines, he's given out 28 yellow cards.
I mean, if he gave
28. But so that said, though, so this past game was 6. A game against Portland Timbers and Dallas was 7.
So
Red
that's
Bulls
13.
and NYCFC is 5. No, what I'm saying is he can be very generous in certain games.
And then he doesn't give out many at all in other games.
Well, 3-2. I mean, he's a presence,
Well,
so
with 28 cards in 10 games, that's an average of 2.8 cards per game.
Right.
He gave 6 out in the Union Atlanta game. He gave 7 out in another, and he gave 5 out in another. That means there's a couple of games where he gave 1.
There's a couple where he gave none. No, that's true. I'm just saying he's not shy about it. Because if you think about it, the average game, giving out 2 or 3 yellow cards can be a lot, in an average game.
Is it me or does the Union does the Union seem to get at least 2 or 3 yellow cards in every game? Not the Union players, but there just seems to be at least 3 yellow cards in every game the Union are in this year.
We'll have to research that.
I actually don't think. I think it's I think that might be a Mandela effect thing. I think because we've talked about Martinez so much, but he's actually even backed up. So he backed off of getting them as much.
Martinez was not one of the 4 to get a yellow in this game. 3 of them went to our attackers, Carranza, Ora, and then Torres after he got subbed in.
Look at the stats from this game. Couple of the more minor stats that were very non-Union. We had the majority of possession, right? That's not a good sign. We seem to do better when we don't have the majority of possession. It wasn't much. It was like 51 to 49%. But again, we had the better passing accuracy. We had more passes. Again, we usually don't outperform in those areas. But the one telling stat that I think kind of points to the result of this game is shots on goal. Atlanta had 6 shots on goal. We had 1.
Yeah.
And again, I think, Paul, I guess your point. They were just so able to disarm our attack.
Yeah.
We could get it down to their end of the field, and then it would just fizzle.
The other one that frustrates me a bit is that the Union, I think, had like 19 crosses, and it's a low percentage chance of scoring on crosses.
One small little silver lining on this, and again, to give a little bit more love to Joe Bendik, Atlanta had 1 save. Union had 4. So it's not like Joe Bendik was sitting there not doing anything. He made 4 saves in this game, Just too bad there were 6 shots on goal, right? So this game was just kind of it was kind of antithetical to the way the Union had been playing, right? And I think we talked about this before, right? It's kind of like we just get that rhythm going and on the field, and Atlanta did a good job of being creating a discordant game. We just couldn't get our jam on.
Yep. No, I would agree with that. They got in the Union's head, and they stopped them from playing the Union game.
Yeah.
But we have this is only match day 22 or whatever, so we still have more to go before the season.
I was just gonna say my mom was watching this with us. The aforementioned Nancy, and she said, "When is Jamaica gonna lose so that
so we can get Blake back?
We can get Blake back."
Well, they just finished the group stage on Sunday, so I think the next part of the next Gold Cup game is either midweek this week or this weekend.
Sunday, July 9th, against Guatemala. So
unless they lose,
they've been doing quite well. So I tried to watch it in Texas, but I didn't have that channel. So,
well, before we close the book on this Atlanta game, just so the Union were in 4th place going into this game, and now we dropped down to 5th. So, that's okay. We still got time. But Cincinnati drew their game, or did they lose their game? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
I think we had the opportunity. I think they drew, because if we had won, we would have. I heard 2 points as being thrown out there. It's like
I think they played New England. If I'm not
and
mistaken.
I
think they drew.
I think they drew. So, so that gap got a little bit bigger. It was an opportunity for us to close it, and that did not happen. So, still got time. But,
looks like we're 10 points back of Cincinnati now. Okay. But Columbus jumped up to and is at 35. Orlando is actually tied with the Union at 34 points, but we have the edge on points per game because Orlando has played an extra game. And I think we've got the tiebreaker in number. We have 10 wins where Orlando has 9.
Gotcha. Well, moving on from this game.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to just bring up the fact that the Union are in the midst of a kind of a road bend between. Now they just played in Atlanta, then they're going to LA this coming weekend, and they got Nashville midweek. They're going to be in Nashville next week and Wednesday, before they eventually return home against New York City FC before they break for the Leagues Cup.
And when does Leagues Cup start again?
The 22nd of July.
22nd of July. Okay.
Again, it coincides with the Women's World Cup, more or less.
That makes sense.
Yep. Because everybody's going to watch the Leagues Cup over Women's World Cup. Again, Leagues Cup.
Why?
There you go.
Brandon Craig is being loaned to Austin FC.
Yeah, that was
Christy, you sent us.
just announced for, I believe, the remainder of the season.
That's correct.
So, yeah, I know I've heard some just positive scuttlebutty things. I don't have anything like really solid to say about that, but they seem like he seems to be a pretty well received player. So I guess, yeah, they're so in return, the Union is getting a pick in the 2024 Super Draft and up to, so I guess they're not really announcing it, $125,000 in 2024 GAM. What is that again?
General
General
allocation money.
Thank you. I couldn't remember what it stood for. So
that's interesting. I'm gonna have to read some of the details around that loan. It's good that Brandon hopefully will be getting some actual starts. I was hoping he could have gotten some starts for the Union, but yeah, it does look like it's a chance for him to get some actual playing time.
Right.
Maybe that the thought is that the Union might move one of their starting defenders in the offseason, bring Brandon back after this loan time, and then he'll be able to play some next season. I mean, the guy's only 19 years old. He's got plenty of time to develop. So getting some full speed game time for a quality side like Austin would be really good for him.
Yeah, and that's a good point too, Paul. Right? Because it's not, he's not being loaned out to like a lower performing team like Miami, right? He's going to Austin, which they are, they are kind of in the thick of a lot of things. So hopefully that'll be a good experience for him.
One thing I want to see about this loan is if there's a agreed upon purchase option. That would be good to know. Like, hey, if Austin really likes him, are they just going to, have an agreed upon purchase price, or will the Union definitely get him back? I don't know.
Yeah, if there's like an option in this loan to make the loan permanent.
Yeah. And apparently Austin has had some injuries. They've had some issues with other defenders. So it looks like, Brandon's going to get a chance to fight for a starting spot there.
Nice. Well, good for him.
Yeah.
Well, let's go from one Brandon to a Brandan in Union players abroad. Christy, you found this too.
Well, the rumor is what we had talked a few weeks ago about, kind of jokingly about, gee, wouldn't it be nice if Brendan could come back to the Union? Well, he's going to a Union, at least according to the rumors, but Union Berlin, which is obviously a Bundesliga team. I don't know if this is 100% confirmed, but it seems pretty solid. So, more to come on that. But that's coming after Leeds was relegated this season. So a lot of, as often happens, a lot of players had
escape
clauses. Yeah. So, and he was one of them apparently. So.
Yeah, good luck to him. Getting back to playing in the Bundesliga where he really, shined for Red Bull would be. Was it Red Bull?
Yeah. Well, he was in the Austrian league with Red Bull. He played with.
That's what it was. Salzburg.
But
with Jesse Marsh.
Marsh.
I think part.
Oh, he'll get to reuse his German language skills.
That's right. Exactly
in Berlin. Get that Duolingo streak going.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Good luck to Brendan.
Yeah.
It is a shame we couldn't make him come back to the Union. But to be fair, I don't know that the Union really would be putting him in his best spot if he were to come back.
No, I never ever expected that. That was total blue sky.
Yeah, he's not ready to come back. He's got to stay out there a little longer.
Yeah,
and get all that experience that you can get over there.
So while that one is, I mean, I think it was on Twitter, but I don't know if it was officially announced. But we do have this other bit. I know we talked about Jim Curtin and his contract situation a couple weeks back.
He confirmed it after the Atlanta game.
Did he confirm it? Because I had heard that he hadn't confirmed it because basically they hadn't signed everything, and I know Tom Bogert posted something on Twitter, or at least I heard that that's basically it's all but confirmed, and the Union still haven't made an announcement. But have you heard something else?
Per the Philadelphia Inquirer, the Union manager Jim Curtin have a deal on a new contract that will keep him in Philadelphia through the 2026 season. He all but confirmed mind after Sunday's 2-0 loss at Atlanta United. I mean, he has put some stuff up on social, which is certainly not binding in any way. But on the heels, and I know we've talked about this and whether or not he was involved in the process, it kind of sounds like he wasn't, but but the decision has been made to keep Berhalter for USMNT. So if he was in any kind of running for that, apparently that window's closed for the moment. So I know we've speculated about maybe him going somewhere else, but it looks like he's more interested in continuing what he started. You're right, it's not 100% confirmed. All but. So,
yeah, and it's supposed to keep him through 2026, correct?
That's right, which would be his longest extension, as I think I said already. So
and he's already the second longest tenured coach in MLS behind Peter Vermees at 10, and when he's at, and I think Curtin's this is his 11th year as the 10th year as the Union
it's remarkable,
coach, and this will take him out to 13 years. So 13 years coaching one team is pretty amazing,
especially in MLS. Well, and a lot of soccer
anywhere, but in
MLS. But MLS, it's only a few people that tend to stay. Like Vermees, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's almost like It's almost like Pittsburgh Steelers. They just don't change coaches ever until their coach retires. But good to hear that Curtin's going to stick around for a few more years, take a couple more swings at winning some more hardware for the Union before he goes find some greener pasture.
I guess we'll wait till he signs to fully celebrate, just to make sure, just to not jinx anything. But sounds like we're pretty close.
Yeah, hopefully next week we'll be able to talk about this in a not all but
we'll break out the champagne once it gets signed. Especially if it comes with an Ernst Tanner signing as well, because I still haven't heard anything else about him.
He's that quiet motor running in the background. I like
just so important. Gotta lock him up.
Captain America kit.
I just threw it out there just because I don't think we mentioned it last time that the Union's collaboration with Marvel is a Captain America kit, which I appreciated. Definitely considering getting, although I gotta admit I don't really love the design. But I like Ali Bedoya so much, and I love the fact that we get to call him Captain America and then have him doing the press photos in the gear wearing the Union's made supporter shield. It's just so Philly, and it's just so awesome, and it does make me smile and make me happy to see that going on. So I'm debating over getting one of the kits, but same point, I just don't know that I want to spend that much.
I would have lost money on that because I was sure that
I love Captain America. I love Ali Bedoya. But that I don't know, that kind of design on the shield on the front of it. It's just like, I'm not sure that it's quite me.
Yeah.
Maybe once I see the Union actually wear it at a game, then
Yeah.
it'll be like, all right, now I can see it. That works.
Is it a warm-up jersey or an actual game jersey?
I think it's a warm up.
Okay.
Okay.
Usually they don't usually announce third kits mid-season, but who knows? And we do have the third kit with the Simpsons.
The Simpsons one,
jersey,
yeah.
This year, which is what it is officially called.
Didn't Atlanta, weren't they warming up with their Captain America kit? Or is that am I imagining that?
I don't. Yeah, we were a little confused as to what we were seeing on that. So, admittedly, that had been a long day, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And
even if they did, our guys wear it better.
Correct.
We have the Captain America, so
yeah, exactly. So.
So a little Gold Cup recap real quick, and then
speaking of America, I guess it makes sense to shift to the Gold Cup, huh?
This dovetails nicely.
Yeah.
And right after July 4th, right? It's all wheels within wheels.
That's right. Although the game I think was on Sunday that the Union the US wrapped up their group play against Trinidad and Tobago.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty handily beat Trinidad and Tobago.
But who did the US play before that though? Because they beat them
St. Kitts,
right?
St. Kitts and Nevis or something.
That was like 6-0, I think.
It was. They set a record in the Gold Cup for the US team as the largest goal differential in a game. They won 6-0 over St. Kitts, and then they repeated that against Trinidad and Tobago.
I remember watching the end of the St. Kitts game, and Alexi Lawless, who is a polarizing person. They were talking about that result after the U.S. St. Kitts game, and he had a more sobering opinion of the game in the sense of, yeah, it's great the U.S. won 6-0, but that's what the U.S. should have done, and it basically implying if the U.S. did not totally landslide against St. Kitts, then we would have been falling short. Okay, he's got a point. Maybe, I don't know. But then when I saw that the U.S. followed up with a 6-0 win against Trinidad and Tobago, that's non-trivial, right? I mean, with all respect to St. Kitts, right? Mm-hmm. Their island has 40,000 people.
I believe
they have a very small pool that they're pulling from to make their team. Trinidad and Tobago, right? I mean, they who was their goalkeeper from Hislop, right? I think it was his name. Hislop was his name.
Hislop?
Yeah, he was awesome, right? So they have a little bit of a stronger history of soccer. So when the U.S. going up against them, I'm like, all right, this is not trivial, right? A win is not to be just assumed. And they still delivered 6-0. It's like, well, okay, Alexi Lawless, I think you can pump your brakes a little bit.
He can pump his brakes and stop appearing on my television.
You can you can put it in reverse.
Put it in reverse and just back right out of the screen, as far as I'm concerned. But
bring back Michael Pollock from.
Those two together were great because Pollock hated him so much. It was wonderful.
Alexi would say things, and Michael Pollock just very calmly would give his opinion, but like the subtext was, why do I want to punch you in the face so badly?
Yeah, everything had a silent "you dumb American" at the end of it. It was great.
Okay, well, do we want to talk about our upcoming game, the Union traveling to our favorite place in the world, LAFC? That's on Saturday. It's a late game here on the East Coast at 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. LAFC is sitting in third place.
The evil empire.
Ugh.
Yeah.
We got 32 points, 9 wins, 6 losses, 5 draws, 6-2-2 at home.
But the Unions do have more points than LAFC. They're at 34 points.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
All right, here we go.
You're gonna jump right into predictions.
I'm jumping in. Yeah.
Let's do some predictions with some,
Yes.
some explanation around that. So go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Or whatever. I mean,
did I jump the gun?
Oh.
Okay.
She just rolled 2 6-sided die, and this is what she came up with.
Yeah, exactly.
Nope. I'm going 2-1 LAFC.
Whoa.
I am. I am, and I'll tell you what.
Well, note your calendars, everyone. This is our first.
These are for.
I feel like
First
this is the first
pick
time
to-
one of us
first-
called the Union to lose.
Yes.
Well, okay, so here's my reasoning. Our friend Blake is still elsewhere.
Yeah.
And again, no disrespect to Bendik, but there's that situation. So but it's also I'm also hoping that since my predictions are usually pretty wrong, that trend will continue. Of course, now that I've said it out loud, probably not, but that's where I'm going with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the problem is they're going to LAFC.
They're going into the belly of the beast.
Yeah, and they just have not done well there the last little while. I mean, I'm not afraid of LAFC.
No.
I think the Union can beat them.
They can.
They just, for whatever reason, they haven't. And with the way they've been playing on both sides of the ball recently, I kind of see where I understand where C is going with picking the Union to lose this one. As a Union fan, I'm kind of like, I feel like I want to talk myself into them winning it, and it's like I'm not sure I'm there.
I know, it's like, who are you trying to convince, us or yourself here?
Totally, I'm trying to convince myself.
Yeah,
I'm seeing a poster of a UFO with Ali Bedoya beneath it saying "I want to believe." So nobody's getting an X-Files reference. Yeah, exactly.
The LAFC files, you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm also saying, join me. The water's fine. It's okay.
Come play with me in this space.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat actually. When you said 2-1, I'm like, man, actually, I was gonna think about maybe.
I mean, it's not like we have to have different.
No,
you can pick the same. Predict the same.
Also, there are ties in soccer.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, we've called. I think I've used the tie as the happy compromise, saying like, oh, the Union aren't going to lose, but they're not going to win, so I'll go with the tie. And with this loss against Atlanta, because I felt like they really disrupted our game, and we got to get that back. And LAFC may not be the team to get our groove back with.
Yeah.
Stella got her groove back. Huh?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's.
Are you going with 2-1 LA as well, E?
He's deliberating.
Man. Yeah, we're both in that boat. I'm actually going to stick with the tie. I am going to stick with the tie. I'm going to hope that Gazdag and the boys get on the same page. I just hope it's not another 3-3 tie, but I'm going to go 2-2.
Yeah.
If it's a tie, they'll just airlift in Christian Bale. Christian Bale to play Gareth Bale.
Either one, man.
Either one. They'll get the goal.
Sorry. And John McCarthy.
You're amateur, man. You're amateur.
Wow, I can't believe I said Christian Bale. Aren't they both Welsh, though? I think they're both Welsh. Oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
I now have to look that up. I know. But anyway, go ahead.
The nationality of Christian
I'm
Bale.
buying you time.
But they I could see Christian Bale playing Gareth Bale in some sort of biopic.
He's too old.
And he's got to go full body transformation in order to make it work.
Yeah. All right, go.
All right, I'm gonna thread this needle. I'm gonna say
he is Welsh.
He's Welsh. Okay.
Yeah, just saying.
Bloody Welsh.
I'm gonna say I feel like you don't want to be the person like, yeah, we're gonna lose.
Oh, I just did.
You did. And the part of me doesn't disagree with that one. It's like,
I'm not trying to be negative. And I was thinking about calling a draw because if you look at it, we have drawn against them.
Yeah.
Plenty.
Yeah.
But I'm just my what broke the camel's back for me was Blake being out.
Yeah. Yeah. This is not wishful thinking by any stretch, right? We're just calling it like how do you think this game's gonna go?
Right.
So coin flip, Union win against LAFC at home at LAFC. It's like
we're not going to get canceled for saying this.
It's
okay.
Yeah, you got to be bigger to get canceled.
Exactly.
25 downloads a week is not
Yeah,
gonna
Yeah.
trust me. It's like there's no radar system that we're even on.
We are well stealthed.
Yeah.
Look, I think there are people who would agree with us,
Yeah.
like faithful union folks who say, you know what, I don't know if this is the week.
Yeah. I was gonna say
Being a fan doesn't
3-2 LAFC win. Because I like to
Right.
think we're gonna just, get into a big old bar fight with them. Just throwing punches back and forth. Yeah, you know what? Just for flavor, I'll say 3-2 LAFC wins.
All right.
I don't feel right saying that. Part of me's like, nope. I might change it before we end this podcast. I guess got to do a quick.
Suddenly there'll be like an edit in there. I'm gonna go with a 2-1 Union win.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the 4-0. I'll get one of the neighbor kids to do the voiceover.
There you go.
Yeah, I think my prediction's way off. I don't know.
I mean, for all we know, it's going to end up being a 3-0 LA win.
Yeah.
Or the Union will remember how to score and they'll win 6-2.
That's the thing. If the Union, if we get our game back, if we get our groove back, right? If we get our rhythm back, then we can take it to LAFC. And I would love to see it because, man, we need to exercise that ghost between the last time we faced them and we played there again, didn't we?
Yeah.
This is our second trip to LAFC. I don't understand the scheduling in this league.
Well, the other time was a CONCACAF league.
Oh, but yeah.
That was CONCACAF. Okay, never mind. Okay, that wasn't okay. But
And
still,
before
right?
that, it was the MLS Cup,
And
which
then
we
MLS
should have
Cup.
hosted, but they changed the tiebreaker on us.
Yeah, a lot to unpack with that. But anyway, so we need to go there once and just beat them. You know what? 2-1 Union. I'm changing mine. 2-1 Union. 2-1 Union. We're gonna exercise these demons. It's coming up.
And not the Richard Simmons way. You said exercise. It's late. It's late.
That one had a little bit of a delay on it. Okay.
He who laughs last didn't get the joke, right?
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
Oh, just one last thing. When we were talking Gold Cup, Ferreira scored another hat trick. It's the first time in U.S. national team history that a men's player has scored 2 hat tricks in back-to-back games.
Wow.
He did it against St. Kitts, and then he repeated it against Trinidad and Tobago. In fact, he scored a hat trick in the first half against Trinidad and Tobago.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I missed that.
He's
game.
on fire right now. That was one last thing I wanted to mention.
And then one last thing that I just noticed that they had El Tráfico. As we record, it's July 5th, so almost July 6th. But they had El Tráfico last evening, and it was the highest MLS attendance record ever.
Really?
82,110.
82,000. Wow.
8-2.
8-2.
Wow.
They had it at the Rose Bowl. So
Really?
yeah.
Where did they have it? Rose Bowl?
Rose Bowl. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, okay.
That was a midweek game?
It was last evening, so on the holiday.
Okay.
On July 4th. So that probably helped a little bit.
Yeah.
And more people might have been free to attend on Tuesday. But
How did that game end?
Don't ask me hard questions.
Meteor strike.
Well, then I changed my prediction for next week, if that's the case. Stand by.
LA won. Galaxy won 2-1.
Okay. Well,
Good for Galaxy.
both the Union and LAFC are coming in from losses, so see what happens.
Yeah. And Galaxy has been struggling, from what I understand.
Yeah, where
Yeah.
are they in the rankings?
LA Galaxy are in 13th place in the West. 4-9-7.
Wow.
2-4-2 at home.
Well, okay, good for those guys because they took down LAFC, which are in 3rd place.
And if Galaxy can do it, the Union can do it.
Absolutely. All right. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Well, if you want to get a hold of us, you can find us on our website, which is amorephillyunion.com. hey, if you want to drop us a line, yeah, that'd be cool. Feel free to do that. Our email is pod@amorephillyunion.com. You can check out our Twitter posts. C's in charge of all that good stuff. You can find us on Twitter at amorephillyu, and Instagram and YouTube. We are A More Philly Union. You can download our podcast wherever you download your podcast, Google, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, kind of all of them. So yeah, be sure to subscribe, like, comment, spread the word, help us with our help the U challenge. The sooner we get to 1,000 downloads, that much more money we'll donate to the oh my gosh, what's it called? The
Philly Union Foundation.
Thank you.
So it took us 5 months to get 20 episodes. So 5 months from now would put us into December. So let's see if we can't get there before the end of the season.
Yeah, let's see if we can do this.
That would be good.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks for tuning in to another episode of A More Philly Union. We are your hosts. I'm E.
I'm C.
And I'm Paul.
Go
Philly Union. Man, we're terrible at that.
Well, you decided to hold it this time. What was that about?
I feel like that was E doing the clap thing at the end.
Yes, it's 100% what it was. Because we usually just say "Go Union," and you're like "Go Union."
Do you want to do another take?
Nah.
Yeah.
Just like it.
Yeah, screw it.